Are you struggling to progress in an area of your life and it's really impacting your self-confidence and your self-esteem, your relationship with yourself and just how you feel about life? Well, I've certainly been there. And today I'm going to share why this may be and what you can do to move through it. And if you stay until the end, I have an extra special point for you then as well. So a couple of, there's many examples in my life, but a couple of examples in my life were when I was learning to drive. When I was 17, I'm 32 years old now. Blimey, what's that, like 15 years ago? Jeez. Anyway, I'd actually have a car at the moment. That's irrelevant to this podcast. Anyway, so I was learning to drive. So it's kind of relevant because it's in my example. Anyway, I was learning to drive and my first instructor just got like, my dad asked one of his friends, like if he knew anyone in the town, because it was where I was going to school at the time. And his friend mentioned who his daughter was working with until she stopped, which I should have probably taken the hint at that point that she stopped because with this instructor. And I therefore did some lessons as an instructor. And this instructor was horrible, like horrendous. Like he was impatient. Any mistake you made in learning to drive a car, which, you know, really confused me as to, and I didn't have much belief in myself. I didn't have my confidence really low then. My self-esteem was terrible. I was completely reliant on other people to feel good. And he just like destroyed my confidence with like driving. Now, obviously what I teach is how we internally do that. It does make a difference to people around you and the environment. And that's what I'm actually going to touch on today. Yeah, I didn't make any progress and I was really stuck. And then I asked a friend who I started working with who his instructor was. And because he had passed quite quickly, I knew he did a bit of driving before he was 17 and various things. So he had a bit of skill already. And he went, well, I've got this guy. And that was in my more local town. So I started going, this guy, he's a really great instructor, this guy, really patient, really cool, nice conversation to have with him as well. And very understanding. And if other drivers are impatient, he would like have a go at them, and he'd be very like, it's okay, you're doing great kind of thing. And I progressed very quickly, this guy, and passed my test first time. It was the right person in my life so I was in the right environment to really progress. Had I been with the first guy, my confidence was being knocked all the time by making a slight mistake. It's like, you should not, I remember him going, you should not stall there. And I'm like, yes, I didn't intend to stall there. And me and him got in a bit of an argument. So at least I did stand up for myself a bit, I guess. And then I said, I'll let him know about my future lessons. And I kind of just disappeared. Another example, you may have heard me say this before, but I'm a keen footballer, or soccer if you're American. I love it. And as a kid, I was playing for a team and they were dreadful, like really bad. And it was like one of my first seasons playing, and I continued to be dreadful as a result. The next season, we were in a better league and we got a couple of players in and we started playing really well. And as a result, I got better and I really worked for myself as well and actually got player of the season. And then I played for a couple more teams in my youth football. And again, the teams weren't great. And I didn't really progress. And then I started playing men's football and I joined a really good team. And my skill level went up so much because I had the right environment, the right people around me. And that's what I really want to share with you. That if you're not progressing, it may be because, and I find this now, like with the environments in the entrepreneur space, in the personal growth space, that you may be in the wrong environment. You may have the wrong people around you. It makes a huge, huge impact on you. Now, like I said, it's not about being reliant on other people to feel good about yourself. You need to work in your own relationship with yourself. That is essential. Yeah, if you've got the wrong people around you who like bring you down, and maybe they don't bring you, maybe they are toxic, maybe they don't do it deliberately, that's going to be really hard to work on that relationship with you and to progress as well. So therefore, your environment plays a key. We adapt to our environments. We adapt. Like, if people around us are better at a certain thing, we will get better. If people around us are worse, and I remember I developed quite a good level of football in like men's football, and I playing for a team and our good players left, but my mates were still there. But unfortunately, my mates, top guys, just not very good at football. And then we got put in a harder league and we got stuffed. I didn't have my greatest season, surprisingly enough. And in fact, my standard went down a bit. So being in the wrong environment this is a very likely cause of why you're not progressing. Having the right people around you, like the right coach, the right, like maybe accountability partner and people in your life could be impacting on you progressing and therefore your self-esteem and confidence. How is it helping you by not progressing and being stuck in the same situation? If you're anything like me, not great. And also, I can talk about workplaces. I was new to project and change management. I was struggling for a little bit, and then I had a really good manager who really put things out for me, and I got promoted. I did really well. I got a new job, and that was a difference of one individual. Again, it's not about being reliant on them. It can make a huge impact, though. So let's go through some practical steps for you, and then we'll go on to the bonus point. So know what you want. Like I always say this, and I'm not going to stop saying it. You got to know what you want, right? If you're like, I'm not feel like I'm progressing, it's like, towards what specifically? It's like, well, I feel a bit unfit, but it's like, okay, well, what are you wanting? Are you wanting to run a 10K or a marathon? Are you wanting to lose some weight? Are you wanting to put some muscle on? What is it you want specifically? And then if you're losing weight, it's like, well, I want to lose some weight. Okay, like, okay, you go and lose a pound. Great, you've lost some weight. You're like, well, that's not what I wanted. Well, what did you want? You've got to be specific on what you want, right? So be clear on what you want, because it's based on just feelings otherwise. Obviously, emotions are really, really key, and we've got to acknowledge them. Yet, if you're not clear on where you want to go, how do you know if you're progressing truly or not, right? Be very, very clear. The second one, where can I find a place or an environment where I'll be able to build up my skills? Now, I found personally, and people are going to like go, yeah, well, I don't have the money. Do you really not have the money? Or you're just not being resourceful enough? I find investing into programs and groups has accelerated my journey a lot, because you get people who are doing well in certain areas and they can really inspire you. And actually, it's like a game changer. Like I remember, I think it was around somewhere between £5,000 to £7,000, basically, I invested in the program. I made tens of thousands back from that, not straight away. And that's the problem with people in instant gratification, because I was surrounded by people who were really further ahead than I was, and it rubbed off on me. And my goal, I knew, was to grow a coaching business. I didn't have much luck. And my goals were like terrible before I joined this. And I started seeing people like, I'm aiming for 5 figures a month. And I'm like, wow, like I just aiming for that in a year. And it's like, you start setting your goals higher as a result. So where can you know what you want? And then where can you find the people or the environment in that? Now, yeah, sometimes, yeah, you could probably find something free as well. But I personally find when you invest in yourself and you find a community like that, you're going to accelerate your growth a lot quicker, because you're going to have people who are really willing to invest in themselves and go further. And that may just be a one-on-one coach, right? People will pay for a house and they won't invest in themselves, right? It's crazy, right? If you build the skills, you'll be able to generate more, right? Anyway, so that's the second one. The third one, listen to someone who inspires you, right? Who inspires you? Because if you're listening to rubbish like that brings you down, that exhausts you, that drains you, yet you don't listen to someone who inspires you and gives you energy, that's going to cause a lack of progress as well. I listen to people like Grant Cardone every single day, Jeremy Minor, people like Tony Robbins regularly, people like Jason McClendon, my mentor. And guess what? I start progressing more because I start thinking like them because they're always in my head, right? So that's the third one. Start listening. It could be an audiobook, it could be a podcast, could be a YouTube, something else. Start listening to good quality information and people because that will really help you start believing and thinking the way they do. You're borrowing their confidence in other ways, and that's going to bring yours up as a result as well. Now, I've got an extra point for you that is going to be a bonus one, and I'll share that in a moment. Okay, my final bonus point for you today is use your own success formula. What do I mean by that? You have been successful in multiple areas of your life. You just forget about it. Maybe it's passing exams. Maybe it's passing a driving test. Maybe, like if you're fortunate enough in this world to be able to walk, not that everyone is, you learn to walk, right? Maybe there was a job you got that you never thought you'd get. Maybe you earn a certain income you never thought you could. You have a success formula for those things. So ask yourself, what did you do in order to progress in those areas? And then start thinking, how can I apply that into an area that I'm perhaps stuck on at the moment? Okay, that's what I've got for you today. I appreciate you for being here. You're inspiring other people by being the best you. And remember, you're in control of your own self-esteem and confidence.